Okay, we are now live in the interview tent with the happy connections of a Fleet Express, winner of the 141st Travers Stakes. Just for your information, jockey Javier Castellano has a mount in the 13th race, so he'll be joining us after that race is complete. But we do have with us now, left to right, Anthony Beck of Gainesway Farm. In the middle, the winning trainer, Jimmy Jerkens. And on the far right, the co-owner of the horse with Gainesway Farm, Mr. Martin Cherry. Gentlemen, congratulations. And I guess first I'll ask the owners what it was like sweating out that photo, and even after you saw the replay, were you confident that you had won?
Well, it was very, very close, as you saw. It can so easily go the other way, and I was just very, very pleased that it went in our direction. It was fantastic, I'm sure, for everybody.
I thought I had a good view, and it did look like he crossed the line first, but you never know until they put up that official sign. We're very, very happy, as you can see.
And Jim, first of all, I want to ask you, congratulations. You've won a Breeders' Cup race before, of course, with Artie Schiller. Where does today's win rank in the terms of your career highlights?
It's probably the highlight, I'd have to say. Yeah, you know, as big a race as it's become, and prestigious as it's become, and all the coverage it gets and everything like that, and all the leading up to it, you know, and Saratoga, it seems to always be extra special to win in Saratoga. So, yeah, this is it.
And we'll take questions from the media in just a second. When you are ready to ask, I'd like you to come up here and ask it so the folks listening up in the press box can hear you through the microphone. Jimmy, in the Jim Dandy, a Fleet Express ran well, but it appeared that he also ran in spots, particularly around the turn before he kind of leveled off past the 8th pole. Today, it looked like he was very professional. Do you agree with that assessment? And if so, what made the difference?
Well, I don't know if anything made the difference that we did since then, but he probably learned something from the race. You know, it was kind of had a rough trip going into the first turn, and an awful lot of dirt thrown in his face. He had a lot of dirt today also, but he certainly seemed to run up against it much better than he did in the Jim Dandy. He lost a lot of ground, not a lot, but he lost some of his position around the turn in Jim Dandy, and here he maintained it. He got through pretty good on a couple of horses just past the 3/8 pole, I thought, and it didn't look like Javier was driving him yet, so I thought we had a good shot from there, as long as he could get in the clear in the stretch.
And we want to ask all three of our guests, for the benefit of, they're having a little trouble hearing you up in the press box, so just get close to the microphone if you could. Anthony, I'm sure this day is a joyous one. Of course, your father passed away not too long ago. Does that add a slight tinge of melancholy, just knowing that he couldn't be here to see this?
Well, obviously, I really wish he'd been around to have seen this. He would have been very, very happy and very proud. He was very proud when Fleet Alex came to Gainesway, and of course, Fleet Alex has been exceptional from the get-go. But it's even more wonderful for me to have my children, you know, witness this, and something for them to remember. So, thank you very much.
Yes, an offspring of a Fleet Alex took 1st and 4th in the Travers. Okay, we're ready now for questions from the media. Just come right up here to the center and use the microphone, and we'll take one from Ernie.
Jimmy, I'm just curious. Early in his career, there seemed to be some gait issues. Well, maybe not gait issues, but he wasn't breaking too sharp. What did you do with him to get him away from those hesitating starts very early in his career?
Well, the majority of horses will learn anyway, just by racing. You know, very seldom you see a horse be chronic that way, unless, you know. And he had some, you know, he had some soreness in one hip area, and that we had to work on, and that when we got back from Florida, we keyed on, and then right from that time on, it seemed like he had more confidence pushing off out of there. Just like any athlete, you're not gonna, something's hurting you, you're not gonna run against it as you would if it wasn't hurting you. So I think that was the key thing.
Jimmy, every trainer in this game has been on both ends of what we just saw. What was going through your mind and your stomach as they were going down the stretch? And did you think you had won?
Well, I thought he looked like in the 8th pole. I thought he was going to win it, but then he looked like he was starting to hang in pretty good, and his momentum, he was starting to slow down a little bit, almost hitting the rail, I thought, but Javier looked like he was getting pretty good with the left hand, and to keep him from, hitting the fence, and I think when he got that horse crept up to him, I thought I saw him straighten out a little bit and give it another go. So I still thought, I didn't know I thought he might have got beat, but I was at the same time, win or lose, I was so happy they had run that good. So, if he would have got beat at nose, it would have been hard to swallow. But you're always happy when they run a race like that anyway.
How bad is it when you lose one of these?
It hurts, of course. It's happens to all of us. It's certainly gonna happen to me a lot more than So you learn to deal with that pretty quick.
Jimmy, the horse has come a long way since the inner track at Aqueduct this winter. How good did you think he was when you were first starting him and when you first got him?
Well, he acted like he was, but there's a lot. Acted like he showed good workouts in the morning and very competitive. But there's a lot of horses that are good in the mornings, and when the pressure's put on them, they're not quite the same. But his first start was really something because he didn't only break slow, he just stood there. I mean, he absolutely stood there and spotted the field a ridiculous amount, and he still won, which was incredible. So, again, I don't know if he beat anybody of much significance, but still, I never saw a horse spot a field horse that much distance and win. Anyone going away too. I mean, he made a big run. Like a lot of horses will make a big run from something like that, and then they'll hang bad and finish off the board, which it looked like he was going to do, and then all of a sudden he took off again and won pretty handily. So, when a horse does that, you think you're pretty sure you got something pretty special.
Jimmy, did you have any specific instructions in the paddock for Javier Castellano and any items addressed?
Not really. We talked a little bit about it also in the other race he rode for me, because I didn't know how much time I'd have to talk to him in the paddock here. So we went over it pretty good during the 9th race, and he just said it all depended on what the pace was like. I kind of was going to just leave it up to him. I just told him the horse is doing very well, and I think he'll do whatever you want him to do, and just try to get a good trip. On he's dead fit, and he's as good as I think he can ever be. Just try to get as good a trip. You've ridden him enough now where you know what he likes and dislikes, and just try to give him as good a trip as you can. That's all.
For all three of you, please, could you discuss what's next for the horse, and also could you discuss your Breeders' Cup prospects?
Oh, I don't know. Depends on so many things. We're just gonna see how he is and savor this for a while. This is a big win for all of us. So I really don't know what to say. To be honest with you, outside of the Breeders' Cup, I don't know what there is outside. After this race, but I would have to tend to think that we wouldn't go for the Breeders' Cup, but you never know. It all depends. If you go back there and he's jumping out of his skin and the field looks like it's gonna dwindle somehow, but I would have to say it's a long shot.